The morning sun cast long shadows across the parking lot of Miller's Diner, a roadside establishment on Route 46 in northern New Jersey. The chrome and steel of 24 motorcycles gleamed in the early light as members of the Iron Brotherhood MC gathered for their weekly breakfast ride. Steam rose from coffee cups as riders swapped stories, their leather vests bearing patches earned over years of brotherhood and service. Tommy "Ratchet" Morrison sat astride his Road King, adjusting his gloves when movement near the diner's entrance caught his attention. An older man in a worn army jacket shuffled toward the door, his weathered face lined with exhaustion. The jacket's faded patches marked him as a Vietnam veteran, 82nd Airborne. Tommy's chest tightened with recognition. He'd served 2 tours in Afghanistan himself. Inside the diner, the veteran approached the counter with careful dignity, despite his obvious circumstances. His name was James Patterson, and the tremor in his hands as he counted out crumpled bills spoke of harder days than most could imagine. The waitress, a young woman named Sarah, smiled warmly and nodded toward a booth by the window. Before James could sit, the manager, a heavy-set man named Derek Walsh, emerged from the back office. His voice carried across the diner, sharp and dismissive. "We don't serve homeless people here. You need to leave." The conversation at nearby tables died. Sarah's face flushed red. "Mr. Walsh, he has money. He's a customer. I said out now, before you drive away paying customers." Walsh's hand gestured toward the door with finality. James's shoulders sagged, but he maintained his composure. "I fought for this country, sir. Just wanted some breakfast." "I don't care where you fought. This is private property." Tommy and 3 other riders had entered during the exchange. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Tommy stepped forward, his voice level but carrying the weight of command. "Brother, we got a problem here." Walsh's confidence wavered facing the wall of leather and insignia, but his pride won out. "Private business, not your concern. That man's wearing jump wings and a CIB. That makes it my concern." Tommy's eyes never left Walsh's face. "He's eating with us. Then you can all leave. I'm calling the police." Tommy pulled out his phone. "Save yourself the trouble. I'll call them." He turned to James. "Sir, with respect, would you mind waiting outside for a moment? We'll get this sorted." James nodded, maintaining his dignity as he walked out. The bikers followed, forming a protective semicircle in the parking lot. More riders from the breakfast gathering joined them, word spreading quickly through the group. Club President Marcus "Hammer" Rodriguez pulled up, his experience reading situations instantly. "Ratchet, what happened?" Tommy explained in clipped sentences. Around them, engines idled as more riders arrived for the scheduled run. By the time 2 police cruisers pulled into the lot, 40 motorcycles surrounded the diner. Officer Jennifer Chen emerged from her patrol car, her partner close behind. She recognized several riders. Iron Brotherhood had helped with the local Veterans Day parade. "Gentlemen, what's going on?" Tommy gestured to James, who stood apart, clearly uncomfortable with the attention. "Officer Chen, this veteran tried to buy breakfast. Manager kicked him out for being homeless. No disturbance. No problem. Just discrimination." Chen's jaw tightened. She approached James. "Sir, is this accurate?" "Yes, ma'am. I have money. Just wanted coffee and eggs." Walsh emerged from the diner, his earlier bravado restored by police presence. "I have the right to refuse service. He's loitering." Chen's partner, Officer Davis, checked his notes. "He attempted to purchase food with cash." "That's not the point." "Actually, Mr. Walsh, under New Jersey law, that's exactly the point." Chen's voice carried professional authority. "Refusing service based on housing status violates state anti-discrimination statutes. Would you like to reconsider?" Walsh's face reddened. "Fine, but I want all these motorcycles gone. They're intimidating my customers." Hammer stepped forward, his patch reading President above the club's colors. "We're on public property, officer. Haven't blocked access, haven't threatened anyone. We're just waiting to see if our brother gets his breakfast." Chen surveyed the growing crowd of riders, now 50 strong. "Mr. Walsh, I strongly suggest you allow Mr. Patterson to eat in peace. These gentlemen have every right to be here." Walsh retreated inside without another word. Sarah appeared at the door, waving James in with an apologetic smile. "Come on, honey. Breakfast is on me today." As James entered, the riders erupted in applause, not loud or aggressive, just a steady clap of respect and solidarity. Tommy followed him inside along with Hammer and 2 other club officers. They took a large booth, making James part of their group. Sarah brought coffee and menus, her hands shaking slightly. "I'm so sorry about Mr. Walsh. That was wrong." James's voice was quiet, but steady. "You stood up. That took courage." Over breakfast, Tommy learned James's story. 3 years on the streets after his wife died and medical bills consumed his savings. No family, few connections. He survived on VA benefits and odd jobs, sleeping in a shelter when space was available. "The army taught me to adapt," James said, staring into his coffee. "Never thought I'd need those skills stateside." Hammer pulled out his phone, scrolling through contacts. "Brother, that changes today. We've got connections. VA advocates, housing specialists, job networks. You served your country. Time your country served you back." Outside, the gathering had taken on a life of its own. Riders from other clubs had heard and arrived. The Devil Dogs MC, Rolling Thunder, the Christian Motorcyclists Association. The parking lot held over 100 motorcycles, their riders standing in quiet solidarity. Tommy stepped outside to address the crowd. "Listen up. This veteran, James Patterson, 2nd Airborne Vietnam, got kicked out for being homeless. We're going to fix that, not just today, but permanently." A rider from the Devil Dogs raised his hand. "What do you need?" "Everything. Housing, job placement, VA benefits processing, medical support. We're going to show this community what happens when you disrespect a veteran." Phones emerged across the crowd. Within minutes, a network mobilized: veterans advocates, non-profit directors, business owners, housing coordinators. The Iron Brotherhood's sergeant-at-arms, a man called Doc, who worked as a VA social worker, began taking notes. Inside, James sat surrounded by brotherhood he hadn't felt in decades. His hands steadied around the coffee cup. For the first time in years, hope flickered behind his eyes. Chapter 2. The rally by noon, Miller's Diner was surrounded by over 200 motorcycles. The parking lot overflowed into the adjacent shopping center. Riders stood in formation, their presence powerful but peaceful. Local news crews arrived, cameras capturing the unprecedented gathering. Hammer had spent the morning on his phone, coordinating with every veterans organization within 50 miles. The club's conference room, a converted warehouse space they used for meetings, became command central. Doc spread paperwork across a table, working through James's VA benefit status. "His disability claim was denied 3 years ago," Doc explained. Frustration evident. "Classic bureaucratic runaround. He's got documented PTSD and service-connected injuries, but the paperwork got lost in the system." Tommy leaned over the documents. "Can we appeal?" "Better. We can request a full review with proper advocacy." Doc pulled up a contact on his phone. "I know an attorney who specializes in veterans claims, pro bono work. Let me reach out." Across town, James sat in the office of New Horizons Veteran Services, a non-profit run by former Marine Sarah Chen, no relation to Officer Chen. She'd dropped everything when Hammer called, recognizing the urgency in his voice. "Mr. Patterson, we're going to get you housed first, then handle everything else," Sarah explained, her efficiency born of managing hundreds of similar cases. "I have a transitional housing program with immediate availability. Single room, shared kitchen, but it's clean and safe." James's voice cracked. "I can't afford covered by grants and donations. Your only job is showing up to appointments and following the program." She slid a folder across her desk. "This includes job training, VA benefits assistance, and counseling services. Standard 6-month program, but many residents transition to permanent housing within 3 months. While James processed paperwork, the rally outside Miller's Diner evolved. What began as spontaneous support had become organized action. Riders collected donations, organized supply drives, and coordinated with local businesses. A restaurant owner offered James a dishwashing position starting immediately. A local apartment complex manager, himself a veteran, committed to holding a unit for when James completed the transitional program. News coverage spread beyond local stations. By mid-afternoon, the story trended on social media, not as controversy, but as community response. Comments flooded in from across the country, many from veterans sharing similar experiences. Derek Walsh watched from inside his diner, his earlier confidence replaced by growing unease. His dining room sat empty while hundreds gathered outside. Sarah had quit an hour earlier, her resignation letter simply stating, "I won't work somewhere that treats veterans like trash." Officer Chen returned to the scene, now accompanied by the department's community liaison. The gathering remained peaceful, but its size demanded police presence. She approached Hammer with professional respect. "We appreciate how you've handled this," Chen said. "No incidents, no problems. But I need to know what the plan is here." Hammer gestured to the organized activity around them. "We're fixing a wrong, officer. By sunset, James Patterson will have housing, a job, and a path forward. These riders came to make sure one veteran doesn't slip through the cracks again. And the diner? That's up to them. We're not here to hurt business or cause problems, but we're not leaving until James is taken care of." By late afternoon, local veterans groups had set up information tables in the parking lot. Other homeless veterans appeared. Drawn by word of mouth and news coverage, the Iron Brotherhood and supporting clubs processed each case, connecting people with resources. Doc worked tirelessly, his social work expertise invaluable. One veteran, a younger man named Carlos who'd served in Iraq, approached Tommy hesitantly. "Is this real, the housing, the help?" Tommy clasped his shoulder. "Brother, it's real. You served. Now let us serve you." By evening, 12 additional veterans had enrolled in housing programs, job training, or benefits assistance. The parking lot gathering had transformed into an impromptu veterans resource fair. Food trucks arrived, donating meals. Local businesses sent representatives with job openings. James returned from New Horizons with Sarah Chen, his face transformed. He carried a duffel bag of donated clothes and toiletries, his immediate needs met. The transitional housing facility was expecting him that evening. He had a job interview scheduled for the next morning. Hammer called for attention, his voice carrying across the parking lot. "Brothers and sisters, James Patterson is housed tonight. He has employment opportunities and proper VA advocacy. But this doesn't end here." The crowd quieted, hundreds of riders listening. "How many veterans are out there right now, sleeping rough, unable to get help?" Hammer continued. "How many get treated like James did today? We're starting something bigger. Next month, first Saturday, we're organizing a statewide veterans resource rally. Every club, every advocate, every business that wants to help. We're going to make sure no veteran faces this alone." The roar of approval echoed off nearby buildings, not aggressive but powerful. Engines revved in unified response, a thunderous chorus of commitment. Walsh emerged from the diner as the sun set, his shoulders slumped. He approached Hammer directly, television cameras capturing the moment. "I was wrong. I let prejudice override decency. Mr. Patterson, if you're willing, I'd like to apologize personally." James stepped forward, his bearing still military despite 3 years on the streets. "I accept your apology, sir. Maybe this teaches all of us something about judgment and compassion." Walsh nodded, humbled. "My diner will be hosting a free monthly breakfast for homeless veterans, first Saturday of every month. That's the least I can do." The gesture wasn't enough to erase his earlier actions, but it represented a start. Tommy noted several riders nodding approval. Accountability mattered, but so did growth. As darkness fell, the motorcycles began departing in organized waves. The Iron Brotherhood would escort James to his new housing, ensuring he settled safely. Other clubs dispersed to spread word of the upcoming statewide rally. Officer Chen approached Tommy as he prepared to leave. "What you did today, this is community policing at its finest. You held someone accountable without violence, helped multiple people, and did it all legally." Tommy adjusted his gloves. "We're veterans helping veterans, officer. That's not activism, that's duty." The ride to New Horizons transitional housing took 30 minutes. James riding in a support vehicle surrounded by a dozen motorcycles. The facility director met them personally, having stayed late to ensure James's arrival went smoothly. As James entered his new room, small but clean with a real bed and private space, he turned to Tommy. "I don't know how to thank you." "You already did." "Brother, You served when called. That's thanks enough. Tommy handed him a card with contact information. You need anything. Anything you call, day or night. You're not alone anymore. Chapter 3. The Movement. The following weeks saw unprecedented coordination among New Jersey's motorcycle community. The Iron Brotherhood's clubhouse became headquarters for organizing the statewide Veterans Resource Rally. Hammer appointed Tommy as operations coordinator, recognizing his military logistics background. James settled into transitional housing and started his dishwashing position at Romano's Italian restaurant. The owner, a Navy veteran named Tony Romano, provided not just employment, but mentorship. James arrived early and stayed late, his work ethic impressing the kitchen staff. Doc worked through James's VA benefits appeal with the pro bono attorney, Rachel Goldman. Her office downtown buzzed with activity as she navigated bureaucratic channels. His case is textbook wrongful denial, Rachel explained during a meeting. The service connection documentation is solid. Someone just didn't do their job properly. Meanwhile, word of the upcoming rally spread through veterans networks nationwide. Motorcycle clubs from Pennsylvania, New York, Delaware, and Connecticut confirmed attendance. Veterans nonprofits requested tables at the event. Local businesses offered sponsorships and donations. Tommy coordinated with state police and municipal authorities, ensuring proper permits and safety protocols. The chosen location, Veterans Memorial Park in Trenton, could accommodate thousands. He worked with park officials on logistics, parking zones, medical stations, information tent placement, and sound system requirements. Sarah Chen from New Horizons became a key organizer, connecting Tommy with statewide homeless veteran advocates. Together, they compiled resources, housing programs, job training centers, mental health services, legal assistance providers. Every veteran who attended would leave with concrete support options. James, meanwhile, experienced transformation beyond housing and employment. Romano's restaurant staff became his extended family. The head chef, Maria, noticed his trembling hands during prep work and gently inquired. James admitted his PTSD challenges, nightmares, hypervigilance, difficulty in crowds. Maria connected him with her brother, a counselor specializing in veteran trauma. Within days, James enrolled in therapy sessions covered by emergency funding Doc had secured. The tremors gradually decreased as James processed decades of unaddressed trauma. At the Iron Brotherhood Clubhouse, riders assembled supply packages for homeless veterans, hygiene kits, warm clothing, sleeping bags, non-perishable food. The club's auxiliary, composed of spouses and family members, coordinated donation drives across northern New Jersey. Hammer's wife, Teresa, organized a fundraiser specifically for James's long-term housing needs. Transitional is great, but he needs permanence, she explained at a club meeting. Let's get him into his own apartment with 6 months' rent covered while he stabilizes. The fundraiser, a charity poker run involving 24 motorcycle clubs, raised $18,000. Teresa presented James with the news at Romano's, the entire restaurant staff witnessing his tearful gratitude. I spent 3 years invisible, James said quietly. Now I have family again. The statement resonated through everyone present. Tony Romano raised a glass. To family found, not just born. As the rally date approached, media coverage intensified. National news outlets covered the organizing efforts, framing it as grassroots community action. Veteran advocacy groups used the story to highlight systemic failures in support services. Derek Walsh, whose diner incident sparked the movement, quietly donated $5,000 to veterans' homelessness programs. His monthly free breakfast program launched successfully, serving 32 veterans its first Saturday. Sarah, the former waitress who'd quit, returned to help serve, acknowledging Walsh's genuine effort to change. Tommy spent long nights coordinating with over 40 motorcycle clubs and 25 veterans organizations. His military planning experience proved invaluable. He created staging areas, traffic flow patterns, volunteer schedules, and contingency protocols. Rachel Goldman's legal work progressed rapidly. She filed James's appeal with comprehensive documentation, supported by independent medical evaluations Doc arranged through VA connections. We should hear back within 8 weeks, Rachel explained, but I'm confident. His case is airtight. 2 weeks before the rally, James completed his first month at Romano's. Tony promoted him to prep cook, recognizing his reliability and growing skill. The kitchen became James's sanctuary, structured, purposeful, surrounded by people who valued him. His therapist, Dr. Martin Chen, noted remarkable progress. "You're processing trauma you've carried for decades. The stability in your life now, housing, employment, community, creates space for healing." James attended Iron Brotherhood meetings regularly, not as a member but as honored guest and living symbol of their mission. Younger riders sought his stories, learning from his Vietnam experiences. James found purpose in sharing hard-won wisdom. The rally preparation revealed something profound. Communities wanted to help, but often lacked coordination. Tommy's organized approach created clear pathways. Donate here, volunteer there, connect resources this way. Structure transformed goodwill into effective action. Officer Jennifer Chen attended planning meetings in her capacity as community liaison. The department supported the event fully, assigning additional patrol units and traffic control. "This is policing done right," she told Hammer. "Community-driven, solution-focused, bringing people together." 3 days before the rally, James moved into his permanent apartment. The Iron Brotherhood and Romano's staff helped move donated furniture and household goods. Teresa had decorated with warm touches, curtains, plants, kitchen supplies. James stood in his own space, his own name on the lease, and wept. Tommy clasped his shoulder. "You earned this, brother. Every bit of it." "I was invisible," James repeated. "Now I matter again. You always mattered. Now the world sees it." The night before the rally, organizers held a final coordination meeting. Over 100 volunteers attended, representing dozens of organizations. Tommy reviewed protocols, emphasized safety, and stressed the event's core purpose: connecting homeless veterans with resources and community support. "Tomorrow isn't about glory or attention," Tommy concluded. "It's about making sure every veteran who attends leaves with hope and a plan. That's the mission. That's why we're here." The room erupted in applause. James stood at the back wearing his Romano's uniform, his eyes clear and focused. He'd come full circle, from homeless and humiliated to housed and employed, from isolated to surrounded by family. Hammer approached him after the meeting. "You ready for tomorrow?" "I think I need to speak," James said quietly. "Tell my story. If it helps one person, it's worth it." "Brother, your story already helped hundreds. But if you want to share it publicly, we'll make it happen." Chapter 4. The rally and Resolution Dawn broke over Veterans Memorial Park, with temperatures hovering near 50 degrees. By 6 a.m., motorcycles began arriving, first dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. The rumble of engines created a continuous, thunderous backdrop as clubs from 5 states converged. Tommy stood at Command Central, coordinating volunteer teams through two-way radios. Medical stations staffed by veteran medics and nurses opened promptly. Information tents displayed resources from 43 veterans organizations. Food vendors donated by local businesses prepared for massive crowds. James arrived with the Romano's crew, Tony having closed the restaurant for the day so his entire staff could volunteer. They staffed a hospitality tent serving coffee and breakfast sandwiches, James working shoulder to shoulder with his new family. By 8 a.m., attendance exceeded 5,000. Motorcycles, support vehicles, and walk-ins. State Police traffic control worked smoothly, Officer Chen coordinating with her department's expanded presence. News helicopters circled overhead, capturing the massive gathering for national broadcasts. Homeless veterans arrived tentatively, many brought by outreach workers and shelter staff. The Iron Brotherhood had organized transportation from shelters, treatment facilities, and known encampments across New Jersey. Each arriving veteran received a welcome packet, resource guide, meal vouchers, and personal hygiene kit. Sarah Chen and her New Horizons team managed intake and assessment, connecting veterans with appropriate services. Doc worked a dedicated VA benefit station with 3 other social workers, processing disability claims and healthcare enrollment. Rachel Goldman's legal team offered free consultations, addressing discharge upgrades, benefits appeals, and housing discrimination cases. The gathering transcended simple charity. Veterans connected with employers offering jobs, housing advocates enrolled people in programs, mental health professionals provided screening and referrals. It represented coordinated community action on unprecedented scale. At 10 Hammer took the stage erected near the park's central memorial. The crowd quieted as his voice carried through professional sound systems. Brothers, sisters, and honored guests, welcome to the first annual New Jersey Veterans United Rally. Applause rippled through thousands of attendees. Motorcycle engines revved in solidarity, their rumble like thunder rolling across the park. We're here because one veteran was treated with disrespect and contempt, Hammer continued. We're here because too many veterans face homelessness, inadequate support, and indifference. We're here to change that, not with anger or violence, but with action and compassion. He introduced James, who approached the microphone with visible nervousness. The crowd erupted in support, giving him time to compose himself. 3 months ago, I was sleeping in shelters and alleys, James began, his voice strengthening. I fought for this country in Vietnam, came home to protests and rejection, built a life anyway, marriage, career, stability. Then my wife died. Medical bills crushed me, and I lost everything. The park fell silent except for wind through the memorial flags. I became invisible. People looked through me like I wasn't there. Until the morning Derek Walsh kicked me out of his diner for being homeless, and these riders showed up. James gestured to the Iron Brotherhood members standing nearby. They didn't just help me that day. They gave me back my dignity, my purpose, my life. Emotion thickened his voice. Today I have an apartment, a job I love, friends who are family, healthcare, a future. But I see faces in this crowd, veterans who are where I was 3 months ago. I'm here to tell you, there's a way forward. These people, these resources, this community, it's real. Accept the help. You earned it by serving. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. James stepped back from the microphone, tears streaming down his face. Tommy embraced him, both men sharing the moment's weight. Throughout the day, the rally processed over 300 homeless veterans through comprehensive services, housing placements, job connections, benefits enrollment, medical referrals, each case handled with attention and respect. The coordination Tommy had organized paid dividends as veterans moved smoothly between stations. Maria Romano noticed a young veteran, barely 30, sitting alone on a bench. She approached gently, offering coffee. I'm Maria. What's your name? Kevin, he replied quietly. Marine Corps, 2 tours Afghanistan. You doing okay? Kevin's laugh held no humor. Lost my job, lost my apartment, lost my girl, been sleeping in my car 3 weeks. Saw this on the news, thought maybe. You thought maybe someone could help. Maria sat beside him. Kevin, they can. Come with me. Let me introduce you to some people who will change your situation starting today. Similar scenes played out across the park. Connection, compassion, concrete assistance. The motorcycle community's presence provided more than logistics. It created safety and brotherhood. Veterans felt seen, valued, protected. Derek Walsh attended, keeping low profile but offering genuine service. He worked a food tent, serving meals to homeless veterans without fanfare. His monthly breakfast program had become weekly, his diner transforming into community gathering space for veterans. By afternoon, television networks broadcast the rally nationally. Political leaders issued statements supporting veteran services. The governor announced expanded funding for homeless veteran programs, citing the rally's grassroots success as inspiration. Rachel Goldman pulled James aside with news. Your VA appeal was approved. Full disability rating, backdated to your original claim. You're looking at $73,000 in back benefits, plus monthly payments going forward. James sat down hard on a nearby bench. I don't. You earned it through service. The system failed you. Now it's been corrected. Rachel smiled. You'll never be homeless again, James. You're financially stable. Doc appeared with additional news. The VA also approved full health care enrollment, mental health services, physical therapy, dental, everything. James looked between them, overwhelmed. Tony Romano appeared, having overheard. "Congratulations, brother, but you're still coming to work Monday. That kitchen needs you." The laughter broke James's emotional tension. He stood, embracing each of them. "I have a family again." As sunset approached, Hammer returned to the stage for closing remarks. "Today we processed 322 veterans, housing placements 173, job connections 248, VA benefits enrollment 291, legal assistance cases 112. He paused, letting the numbers sink in. But the real number is one veteran at a time, given dignity and support. That's how we change the system. One life, one connection, one act of brotherhood. The crowd's response shook the ground, engines roaring, people cheering, a unified declaration that veterans mattered. "This isn't the end," Hammer concluded. "It's the beginning. We're doing this quarterly, statewide. We're coordinating with every veterans organization, motorcycle club and community group willing to help. No veteran faces homelessness alone, not in New Jersey, not on our watch." As motorcycles began departing in organized waves, James stood with the Romano's crew, watching thousands of riders leave in formation. The precision and discipline reflected military bearing, veterans supporting veterans. Officer Chen approached Tommy, now exhausted from 14-hour coordination duty. "You know what you've done here? You've created a model. Other states are already calling, asking how to replicate this." Tommy looked across the park, now emptying but transformed. "We just did what should have been done all along, took care of our own." 3 months after the rally, James received his VA back benefits. He donated $20,000 to New Horizons Veteran Services, ensuring other veterans received the support that saved him. Tony Romano promoted him to assistant kitchen manager, recognizing both his skill and leadership. The Iron Brotherhood's Veterans Outreach Program became permanent, with Doc running operations full-time, supported by club funding and donations. The quarterly rallies expanded to neighboring states, each gathering processing hundreds of veterans through comprehensive services. Derek Walsh's diner thrived, his weekly veterans breakfast creating loyal community support. He hired 3 homeless veterans through partnerships with local programs, offering not just jobs but mentorship and stability. James stood in his apartment one evening, looking at photographs on his wall. Military service photos, his late wife, new pictures with Romano's staff and Iron Brotherhood members. He'd built a new life from nothing, supported by people who refused to let him remain invisible. His phone rang. Tommy's voice came through warmly. "Hey, brother, we've got a ride tomorrow morning. Weather's perfect. You in?" James smiled. Pulling on his Romano's jacket, Tony had given him a custom one with James Patterson, U.S. Army veteran, embroidered above the restaurant logo. "Absolutely, I'll be there." He wasn't just surviving anymore. He was living, connected, valued, home. One act of disrespect had sparked a movement that changed hundreds of lives. James's story proved what brotherhood and community could accomplish when compassion replaced indifference. The veteran who'd been kicked out of a restaurant for being homeless now had purpose, stability, and family. And 500 bikers had shown up, not for glory or recognition, but because taking care of fellow veterans wasn't charity, it was duty.